is Zach Wishart, and for this presentation, the topic I've chosen to cover today is gun control. More specifically, do states with stricter gun control have less gun-related murders? So although the debate for gun control originated in 1791 with the signing of the Bill of Rights and the Second Amendment, gun control has been thrust in public sphere since 1999 with the Columbine Massacre, in which Dylan Cable and Eric Harris murdered 12 students as well as a teacher and injured 21 other students. Recent shootings such as the Parkland shooting, the Sandy Hook Massacre, and the Las Vegas shooting have only fanned the flames and kept this issue as one of the key mark issues of the current political debate, a hotly contested one that divided the nation. So before we get into the facts as well as the opposition and support of gun control, we should first identify the history of gun control in America. So as I mentioned earlier, the first major gun control law was the Bill of Rights and Second Amendment, which stated people have the right to bear arms. However, that ambiguous statement has taken some multiple interpretations, which originates the debate. So essentially, right to bear arms, gun control opposers believe that means people have the right to unlimited access to firearms. It is worth noting that the founders of the Constitution had severely different weapons than the guns that are available to the masses today. While on the opposite side, people believe that the right to bear arms only provides a limited and select few access to guns, and that people shouldn't have control of any firearms they feel fit. The next major gun control law that was passed was almost 160 years later, 170 years later actually, with the 1967 Mulford Law, otherwise known as the Black Panther Law. So as the governor of California, Ronald Reagan passed the Mulford Law to prevent people from carrying weapons in public. This essentially stopped the Black Panthers from carrying weapons to protect themselves from the hate crimes that they were enduring. The final and perhaps most well-known gun control law was in 1993 called the Brady Handgun Violence Act. And this law did two major things. One, it requires that all states have background checks when selling guns over the counter. And while this is the case nationally, almost all states have their own form of background check requirements, but not all. That's an important note that we'll notice later in the speech, that we already see a difference between the gun control laws that different states have. Similarly, it is worth noting that background checks are not required for gun sales between friends as well as at gun shows. So it's fairly easy to access a gun without a waiting period or a background check. The other major thing that the Brady Handgun Act did was require waiting periods, as I mentioned earlier. In some states it's 3 days, others it's 7 days. And again, we see the difference between what different states require for their handgun laws. So now I've gone over the history of gun control in America. We should identify what the opponents as well as supporters believe so we understand the current debate. So opposers to gun control really believe that guns are essential to human life. They provide safety, they are essential for hunters, that people have the unlimited access to guns, as well as the fact that we don't need more gun control, we simply need better education. This really is surrounded by the NRA statement, guns don't kill people, people kill people. All these arguments, I believe, are stated and surmised into one final statement that is made by Michael Huemer in his text, Social Theory and Practice. He states that individuals have an unalienable right to firearm ownership, which protects significant interest and is not overridden by utilitarian considerations. So what Huemer is stating is that people's individual rights to bear arms are more important than the utilitarian benefit for everyone that a lack of guns would provide. So even in his statement, Huemer is stating that guns are almost inherently dangerous. It is worth noting that over the last 100 years, gun control has been highly politicized, with Democrats largely being for gun control and conservatives largely being opposed to gun control. And as you will see later, like politics, gun control is highly regionalized. So while in the Northeast, in the West, states like California and New York, which are historically largely Democrat, have some of the stricter gun control laws. While in the South, states that are largely Republican have some of the weaker gun control laws. So transition, now that I've gone over the political aspect of gun control and the opposition, we should all look at people who support gun control and what their main beliefs are. So they Specifically, the Second Amendment rights do not offer unlimited access to guns. That high-capacity magazines should be banned. And one of the premier arguments of the gun control supporters is that despite what NRA lobbyists will say, guns aren't actually a common use defense mechanism to crime. In 2007 and 2011, only 0.79% of victims reported using guns to protect themselves in the atmosphere of assault or other forms of violent crimes. Like Humer, in his statement, defended the opposition to gun control, one of the most outspoken advocates for gun control is Hugh Follett. He, a professor at University of Southern Florida, he has three main arguments that really surmise what almost all gun control supporters believe. He states that guns are not a fundamental right, as they are not necessary to the accomplishment of one's individual dreams or desires. So essentially, one can achieve their dreams without the need of guns. 2, that unlike other objects, guns are inherently dangerous. And Follett offers a really great example to support this claim. Like cars, guns are some of the most leading causes of death in America. However, as guns become more technologically advanced, they become more dangerous and become more deadly. Whereas as cars become more advanced, become safer with the intent to save lives. So we already see the difference as guns are solely made to cause harm. The final major argument that Follett offers is that the NRA claim guns don't kill people, people kill people. On one side, this argument is uncontroversial. Guns are objects, and no one will argue that objects have the ability or the sovereignty over themselves to kill people. On the other side, it's irrelevant. Imagine if tomorrow you heard the NNWA, also the National Nuclear Weapons Association, stated that nuclear warheads don't kill people, people kill people. Well, if we woke up tomorrow or even the next day and heard that Russia or North Korea had launched a nuclear warhead at our hometown, that would not make us feel any better, knowing that the nuke wasn't going to kill us. It was people in those nations who chose to kill us. So now that we've identified the history of gun control, as well as the supporters and opponents of gun control, we should now transition to the facts to see if states with stricter gun control law really do have less murder rates, and it is a positive correlation or not. So, just to add emphasis, the US is a world leader in gun deaths per capita. As of 2010, 31,000 people die yearly from gun-related violence, as well as an additional 340,000 are affected every year by non-fatal gun-related accidents. In states with more gun control and comprehensive measures, it is a wide-held belief that there is less violence, a factor supported by most credible sources. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention of Gun-Related Violence, the top 3 forms of gun-related violence include suicide, accidental shootings, and murder. And these 3 statistics are up from 33,000 in 2014 to almost 39,000 in 2016. But it's a very significant jump in a rather short period of time. So now look at more state-specific examples. The states with the most gun-related deaths are Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, whereas the states with the least are Massachusetts, New Jersey, and Minnesota. So while not perfect, as I mentioned earlier, we see the Northeast with stricter gun control laws have less gun-related murders, and the South with the most murders. So now to support that further action, the states with the strictest gun control law are New York, Massachusetts, California, and Colorado, again as previously mentioned, in the Northeast as well as in the West. And states with the least related gun control are Arizona, Arkansas, Missouri, Mississippi. So between those 2 facts, states with the most murders have the least gun control, all in the South. And opposed to that, states with the most gun control have the least murders. So there definitely is a positive correlation. That is not to be argued. As mentioned earlier, many states have different laws. So only further up this point, many states, almost all in the South, and none of the top 3 with the most gun control and the least deaths have the stand your ground law. So what the stand your ground law is that if you feel attacked or feel in danger, you may use physical violence, most commonly a gun, to support yourself. This law was made famous by the Trayvon Martin killing in 2014 with which George Zimmerman shot Trayvon Martin because he felt his life was in imminent danger. Although not directly a gun control law, the access to use guns as a means of self-defense shows that more guns lead to more violence, as 6 of the top 10 states with the most deaths have stand your ground laws. So now we've proven that nationally there's a positive correlation between gun control and less murders in our states. We should look internationally to see if these trends remain the same. So internationally, firearms per 100,000 people, the US leads the pack significantly with 88.8, while Norway has 31.3, Canada in third is 30.8, Australia has 16. So two nations in Canada and Australia with the strictest gun laws had significantly less guns than America. Australia almost 7 times less, Canada almost 3 times less. And then we look at firearm deaths per 100,000. Again, the US leads 3.54, Israel is second with 1.04, Canada with 3.38, and Australia with 0.16. So again, the US is by far the leader, with the 2 nations with stricter gun control laws having 10 times and almost 20 times less murders. So throughout this speech, I've identified the history of gun control, the opposition, as well as the support for both sides, and facts I believe have proven that without a doubt, there tends to be a positive correlation between states with more gun control and less gun-related murders, as well as vice versa. However, there's one more key fact I believe necessary to really hammer this argument down. And it is that one of the most common and convenient arguments had by gun control opponents is that criminals don't follow the law, so why should we even have gun control laws? Well, again, a convenient argument, it's not really relevant. And I have a precedent law to support this claim. In 1974, the Emergency Highway Energy Act prohibited speeding over 55 miles per hour. Well, I realized that gun control and speeding limits are very different. I'll show you how they're actually very related. So, according to a National Research Council, there's a decrease in fatalities of accident-related automobiles of about 3,000 to 5,000 people saved in 1974. And until 1983, so almost 9 years later, an additional 2,000 to 4,000 lives were saved throughout. So again, gun control and speed limits are very different. It shows that while some people still break the law, as I know from time to time I've been guilty of speeding, more people will be saved than wouldn't be if the laws were never passed. So then, contrary to recent media reports, this debate is not really that controversial, because even hunters and military people all claim that they need to remedy current gun control. It may not be more regulation, but it's without a doubt that more policy or more remedying fixing the current status quo must be changed. Thank you.